Late October, Sax Harbor in the Northwest Territories. Hundreds of kilometers north of the Arctic Circle, the only community on a huge Arctic island with no trees, few jobs, and the world's largest herd of musk ox.
When I first came up here, there was no musk ox. I've been in Sax Harbor since '55. 10 years I never seen musk ox, and when the musk ox started coming out, they come out pretty fast.
The musk ox are an ancient breed, one of the few large mammals to have survived the last ice age. They have endured and on this island flourished in a landscape that offers little in the way of food and less in the way of shelter. Their name comes from musk glands like the ones in their feet that leave a scent, enabling the animals to find their way back to the protection of the herd, even in blinding snowstorms.
Very impressed me, those musk ox ones. No matter how cold it is, they're not like other animals. Other animals like caribou, when they get really cold.
It takes a northern native like Peter Esau to truly appreciate the Arctic ability of these animals.
I think they're comfortable too up here like me, you know, because they got nice big coat and they're nice and fat, you know.
They have also returned in large numbers to Banks Island just when the community needed them most. There was a time, perhaps a decade ago, when this community deserved the title White Fox Capital of Canada. Trapping could provide a good living. Not anymore.
It's quite hard at times because prices that you groceries and stuff like that are quite expensive. Money is hard to get for a small settlement when they're not working.
But now, for the first time in a long time, most of the community is working at a portable abattoir set up on the tundra just outside town. They're harvesting musk ox. Peter Esau is the shooter.
I like my job. I like shooting. My job is to shoot him and then bleed him. And somebody else drag him away.
The musk ox are herded in from up island, a job that involves days spent out on the barrens. After slaughter, the carcasses freeze in the open Arctic air before being cut up and wrapped for export. It all adds up to almost 36 good-paying jobs for more than 2 months. The project manager is Patrick Schmidt.
Oh, it's a sustainable industry. It can be done year after year, maybe even biannually. It's good wages for the community. It's a resource that there's an abundant supply of. We won't even dent the muskox population with this harvest.
There are about 90,000 muskox on Banks Island, and that number grows by about 8,000 a year. Native people like Peter Esau believe that's a big reason why so few caribou are left here. So this harvest, with plans to kill just over 2,000 animals, can begin to address that concern and create long-term jobs at the same time. Lena Wolke is a native elder in Sax Harbor. For her, the chance to use the island's muskox for much more than making souvenir dolls is welcome.
My favorite animal right now. People need the money, and so everybody have job in town, and everybody is happy right now because they're working, and lots of work and tiring, but it's good. I'm happy.
This is the second time Sax Harbor has tried to turn its muskox into an export. 3 years ago, a company using much the same equipment went bankrupt after slaughtering more than 4,000 animals and losing $6 million. This then is a second chance for Sax Harbor to make this work, and very likely a last chance.
I'm in Sax Harbor in the Northwest Territories in Canada.
Patrick Schmidt wasn't part of that last project,
but he works for the native corporation that ran it. This time, things will be done much differently, but he admits that earlier failure has been a serious hurdle.
I guess the big reaction to try to get over is the history of the project. And initially it was not Musk Ox again.
Last time, the project was run out of Inuvik. When there was a problem, the corporation threw money at it. Even worse, they had a single product, Musk Ox meat, and no customers.
After the operation was complete, they shipped the product down to Calgary and it sat in freezers. It was sold, but it was sold at a rock bottom price just because it had aged.
This time, the meat was sold before the harvest began to a specialty meats company based in Vancouver.
We tried it at lunch today. It was delicious.
For Mark Hills, this is a meat buying trip to remember.
Putting this up in the middle of nowhere. We're standing here in an abattoir and I'm dressed like this. I don't know what more I can say is that it's absolutely amazing.
But the meat alone is not enough to make this a profitable enterprise. Not when it will cost almost $2 a kilogram just to get the product to Inuvik. The underfur of the musk ox, known as kiviuk, is one of the warmest natural fibers known. It's also one of the most rare. 98% of this year's global production will happen right here. That makes kiviuk very valuable, if Lloyd Watts and his partner can process it and get it to market.
Oh, it's like being a front runner in the California gold rush. First to stake your claim.
He made all those cuts.
His business partner is from Peru, where the kiviuk will be sent for cleaning and processing. The transport costs alone are staggering.
Financially, it's a great risk. But we have experience with the product. We have put our product on the shelf, and it's been well received by the public. So the risk has been minimized, otherwise we wouldn't be here.
Even the hides have been pre-sold, as Patrick Schmidt tries to cut down the risk of this venture failing again.
This time, most of the money comes from bank loans, backed up by his sales agreements. He spent months drawing up a business plan. But this deep in the Arctic, that's no guarantee.
I think on paper it's very theoretical. The second you get up here, there's I suppose, an emotional element to it. Some days I'm definitely scared to make sure this thing works properly.
No, it's good.
It helps that this time the community is in charge, not someone in an office in Inuvik.
We're trying to keep it at the community base. Otherwise, they don't feel an ownership element to it, and that's really the key thing. This shearing is about 5 minutes to shear a hide, so they should be able to keep up.
Because it's a community-owned company, and because the hiring was done all locally by the management committee, I was delighted to find out I had more than enough workers.
One of those workers is Lena Walke. She heads up the fleshing crew, stripping fat from the hides before they're processed.
Yeah, I really like it. It's really different from before. Long ago when they first started having harvest, women never used to work, only men. But this time it's completely different. That's how we got job, because they're doing everything right there. We need babysitters though. So everybody wanted to work and everybody wanted babysitters.
The social climate for this harvest couldn't be better. But the next day, the Arctic climate gets involved, with winds that gust up to 90 kilometers an hour, churning up a blizzard.
Is the equipment inside okay with this?
Hardest hit is the portable abattoir. The wind has gotten under the canvas walls and torn huge holes in the top as it struggled for a way out.
This whole section, the whole section? When are they going to get the canvas?
The slaughtering line is closed down indefinitely. Schmidt knew weather would be a problem. That too was written up in the business plan.
Every time the wind came up, I kept on thinking, I hope that tent doesn't go.
It could last, a couple days. and it was all anticipated. We banked in a number of days for weather coming into the harvest, and this is one of them.
The harvest is only a quarter done, but this is the first down day in almost 2 weeks, a chance for most of the workers to rest. The other good news is that everything needed for repairs is on the island. That's another risk inherent in this venture. Spare parts can end up being very expensive.
Just to get a plane up here with a nut or a bolt, let's say if that's what we required, can cost in excess of $3,000. So you better make sure you're well planned for any mishaps that could happen.
Mishaps, like the Musk Ox escaping over a wind-damaged fence. Bringing them back is time-consuming, but relatively simple. Conditions are far worse out there, where the next herd of musk ox was being slowly herded in until the weather blew up.
Last night, some of the musk ox had to be released up island because they were having troubles foraging, so they could no longer fairly keep them penned in, so they let them go.
It will take days to recover from that setback, more days of lost production at the abattoir.
It's just going to be trying to keep up the morale in there for another 15 days.
For Patrick Schmidt, this project is a constant battle, fixing problems that can be fixed, living with those that can't, and trying to stay confident that it will all turn out in the end.
Because of the track record of failure of the corporation previous, a lot of people thought, oh, it can't be done. And I like the challenge of trying to make it happen against a lot of odds.
It hasn't happened, not yet. And by the time the abattoir shuts down in mid-December, only half the planned kill has been accomplished.
Predictably, Schmidt still calls it a success because it won't lose money, and it has brought Sachs Harbor the jobs and hope people here need.
In the past, when things are not going well, people never say too much, but now there's lots of talk and we're very happy.
I think it's going to work. Everything's going so good right now. I think it's going to turn out.
For the magazine, I'm Jim McQuarrie in Sachs Harbor in the Northwest Territories.